Jaquan Brisker continues to bring the heat and the fire that we need from the Chicago Bears team in a players only meeting that we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk about comments from a Packers player that shows the difference between the mindset between the Packers and the Bears heading into their week one matchup. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host here, Haize, holding it down for the team. Make sure you guys are following us at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today. And first up, we're going to talk about Jaquan Brisker. But before we get there, I want to segue by talking about or reacting to comments that Green Bay Packer cornerback Rasul Douglas said in regards to the matchup with the Bears heading into week one. He said this: "My thing is, I just got here. He got there in 2021. So the Bears and the Packers were in a rivalry, but I haven't ever lost to the Bears in all my 7 years. So it's not really a rivalry to me. I think it's more of a rivalry would be back in the day when you've been with the same team for 12 years or something like that, and you've been going back and forth every year. Maybe that's a rivalry to you, but to me, it's like I don't really care." Now, here's the thing. There's twofold that you can take with this, right? Yes, he said that he never lost to the Bears. Do not get me wrong. The Bears have been, as a franchise, we have been in a extremely rough period, right? But then when you talk about just coming to the Green Bay Packers in 2021, and just basically saying that he alluding to the fact that the rivalry doesn't really seem like a rivalry to him. You counteract that with comments from Jaquan Brisker and saying that he hates the Packers, and that is different, right? And don't get me wrong, athletes nowadays and rivalries really in sports in general, as more of these guys and these athletes across really are friends outside of it, right? You don't really get the old school rivalries like we used to have. But there's something different. And if you don't understand the difference and you have the nerve to say going into a Bears versus Packers rivalry that it's not really a rivalry to you, that you don't care, you are missing the point. And that is one thing that I love and respect about this Bears organization, right? Is that the players are coming in. We talked about yesterday, Justin Fields saying it last year, Jaquan Brisker's comments, right? And understanding that there's a different mentality between these two teams when it comes into this matchup, right? And yes, the Packers in the last 26 games, in the last 8 years, right? I think, or maybe more than that, they are 23-3 against the Chicago Bears, meaning we've been getting our asses kicked by the Packers. For most of the people who are watching this show and most new Bears fans, we've been getting our ass kicked for years. Nobody can take away from that. We understand that. It is what it is when it comes to that. But you got to keep in mind and look at it. It's just this. The simple fact of the matter is this. This game means a lot. It means a lot to the fan bases, regardless if the players on the team understand it or not. This matchup is different. And when you hear Jaquan Brisker comments in a players-only meeting, apparently just keep saying, "Why not us? Why not us?" Right? And while there are some valid reasons and questions around this team, but direct quote, "Why not us? Why not us? Why can't it be us? Why can't we be the team that takes it all this year?" And regardless of if the Bears are able to or not, that's the mindset I want my team to have. Is why can't it be us? I want you to come into the season, regardless of the standings, regardless of the different levels of talent across the NFC or whatever else it is, and be asking yourself the question, why can't it be us? What do we need to do to make it us, right? How do we need to perform in our individual battles and as a team to give us the opportunity to be the team that brings it all home this year, right? And so when you talk about a franchise that has been struggling for a long time, right? We have one Super Bowl victory in our career, right? In our franchise history, right? We made it to the Super Bowl last in 2007, I think it was, and we all know how that went, right? The Bears have been, while we've had some good teams between then and now, absolutely, we've not been a team that's ever been favored to make it to the Super Bowl, to make it out the NFC, right? So we are changing the culture, and that's one thing that I love about what Matt Eberflus, Ryan Poles, and everybody has brought to this version of the Chicago Bears, right? Is that mindset and the mentality is changing, it is adapting, it is growing, and the expectations that grow and come with that, right? Now, we need to prove it all on the football field. That's what it all comes down to. If you're not proving it on the football field, your mentality only means and takes you so far, right? But coming into this week one, on top of the excitement around the team, but to have that and have your week one matchup be the Green Bay Packers, it's a little bit different gravity that brings for the Chicago Bears and for Chicago Bears fans. And I love the fact that it seems like we have a young team that's going to be a part of this franchise for hopefully years and years to come that are understanding these moments. And I've talked about how important Jaquan Brisker's growth as a leader is as well to this team. We also had an update as far as his injuries. Know that Wednesday was going to be a big day for him as far as judging that. Well, it seems like even before that, just today, Matt Eberflus came out and said, listen, that he expects Jaquan Brisker to play on Sunday in the season opener. So those questions can go. Like, shout out to the Cognac boys, C-Dub and Bobby, who had a episode on how important it is for Jaquan Brisker to be ready for week one. And it means so much to the team. Not only the talent that he brings on the football field and his big playmaking mentality, right? But also the leadership that he brings. And there are other leaders on this defense for sure and on the team overall, right? But Jaquan Brisker, as coming in only his second year and to already be so important to the culture that the Chicago Bears are building is something we haven't had for a long time. And so as we look back to hopefully get back to being the monsters of the midway, which I think this team can be, the lead up to that, the excitement around it, the questions that we have around this team, everything, right? Those answers hopefully are going to start to come in this. And we'll see, right? We'll see. We have tons of questions as well. We got tons of things that we need to prove this year. And we were a 3-14 team last season. I never want to overlook the fact that that is what we are. That's still what we are, right? Until that changes, right? That is how we're going to be viewed, whether right or wrong, by the league. The questions around Justin Fields within our own fan base, outside of our fan base, all those things. We talked about that yesterday, so I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again. But this is a season that the Bears need to start showing and proving that there's something different about this team. There's something different about what we're building here, that what we're building is also something that has so much promise that you can only ignore it for so long before those Bears are knocking at your door. And once we do, listen, like I said before, and like many people have said, we ain't trying to give it back. And if you want to try to take it, you're going to have to pry it from our cold, dead hands. As Bears fans, as Bears players, as an organization, when you look at the chip on the shoulder in Ryan Poles, right? And Kevin Ward, like in everybody that's throughout this organization now, and how much turnover and change has come to the Chicago Bears organization really over 2 years. We're trying to forge forward, and we're trying to forge something different and new and a legacy to have in this. And so let's hope that that's the case, right? Let's really hope that that's the case in this team. Again, it's not going to all be said week one. I'm not expecting everything to look great in week one either, right? But I do think that overall, we need to start showing the progression that we're making so that we can start getting into that different area for the Chicago Bears and start being looked at differently. And so when you look at Bears players who kind of are on the watch, right? Who do you need to look out for? I said kind of the players that have the most to prove, right? But players that I'm specifically looking for to have big games against the Green Bay Packers, and this is not the official preview. Me, C-Dub, and Bobby will be bringing that sooner rather than later. But of course, it starts with Justin Fields. Everything that we do as a team starts with, and changing the mindset around this team starts with how the public, right or wrong, is viewing Justin Fields and how he performs in the biggest stages. And whether not and how televised this game is going to be or not, it's Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field week one. Everybody is watching to see how Justin Fields performs in this game, and you cannot overlook that at all. But when you look at it as well, DJ Moore, right? The chemistry that we heard, we got to see a little bit of it in preseason, not a lot, right? And I think that's by design. And while some Bears fans and other fans are talking about, well, preseason sets the tone, no, the fuck. That you have to actually watch these games. There's so many people who try to talk about what the Chicago Bears can be that I can tell from your comments and your idiotic words that you have not actually watched a single snap of this team yet. It's preseason football. I get it. It's not the most exciting. But shut the fuck up, sit back, stand down, and watch this team and how we perform. The DJ Moore, Justin Fields connection is something that we have to feel right away. And what the impact of bringing that type of weapon to a quarterback that needed it. Right? The offensive line, of course, Khalil Herbert having a big night as well. We want to see how he's going to step up as being the running back one. You know, that position kind of earmarked for Roschon Johnson at some shape, form, or fashion at a point in time. But the Justin Fields, DJ Moore connection is something that I'm really excited to see in a regular season game and how it happens, especially against the Green Bay Packers. Now, also the defense, right? Specifically the running defense. We have how that front seven performs against the run is one of the things that I'm the most excited to see, because if they fail and if we are set up to have another rough season defending the rush, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a long season. There's so many really good running backs in this league, right? That you do not want to keep getting beat up by the run game. So we have to see it. We have to see that run defense show up big time for the Chicago Bears. And then overall, I'll say this, because of what we've heard about him and everything, Jaquan Brisker has really shot up into being a player that I can't wait to see how he performs, because when you say things like, I hate the Packers, right? And that's the soundbite. And then you're also leading basically a players only meeting and hyping everyone up. You got to come out and perform. And we know he's been dealing with an undisclosed injury, but it seems like he's going to be ready to go. I know he's ready to go. How you perform in that is going to be telling. And we're ready to see Jaquan Brisker, amongst other Bears players on that defense and offense, have big nights and perform. And one of those players as well is Tyreek Stevenson. Tyreek Stevenson is going to be picked on early. And you know, Tyreek Stevenson recently talking about how he's DJ Moore and practicing against DJ Moore has really helped him and his development and kind of shoot up that a little bit. And that's what you want from your team. And that is why having a weapon like a DJ Moore is important for the development, not only on the field, but the development, especially of your defenders. When you have a rookie cornerback who's coming in playing tons of snaps for you, right? And he talks about how coming up against DJ Moore and how he got abused by DJ Moore early on. That's what you want to see. And the reason you want to see it, because guess what? Those other teams that are going to be across from you, the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love, are going to try to abuse you. They're going to try to do that. And because you've gone through some of those growing pains, of course, nothing simulates going in a game against an actual opponent. But because of that, we want to see how you're going to start off this season. And, you know, we'll see, man. I'm really excited, really hype overall about this team and where this team is. As you guys know, we're only 4 days away. 4 days away from talking about actual Chicago Bears football. Hey, that storylines write themselves, man. Make sure you guys are following the show at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for our mailbag episodes that go down Fridays and Saturdays, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, thanks to you guys. And like we like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down, FGB all week long. And guess what? I'm giving out free work to any Packers fans in the comments that want to talk slick the whole entire week. I love you guys, man. Bear down, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.